everyone, I'm Savanna and this is Mental Mondays with Savanna, a motivating, mental cleansing, and energy boosting podcast. I focus on how one can improve their mental health while helping you build a better mindset, better habits, and a better life for yourself. I'm a 15-year-old CEO, a passionate storyteller, and an optimistic dreamer who views the world through a different set of lenses. I came on here to share that unique view with you. My biggest hope is that my videos ignite a spark in you to seek your highest potential and so that you can live a life without limits. Let's dive into it. Hey everyone, welcome to the very first episode of Mental Mondays with Savanna. I am so excited to be on here, starting my first podcast and having the opportunity to share my voice and speak about all my experiences. I wanted to first start off my first episode and my first season with gratitude, thanking you all for supporting me and listening to this podcast when you could have been literally doing anything else, but you decided to support, and I am so grateful for that. So let's get into the first topic of the season, embracing your failures and your imperfections. And let me just say, that's way easier said than done. More than ever, people are saying that they are feeling pressured to look and to be the best. And that's taking a toll. According to the Harvard Business Review, experts have seen depression rates and anxiety disorders rocket the past couple of years. And in that group, people, especially my generation, like Generation Z and millennials, they try to hold an unrealistic expectation for themselves, whether it's academic-wise or work-related, even relationship-wise. I think nowadays, more than ever, people are trying to hold this perfect image of themselves while trying to hide all their flaws and failures in a corner under a rug where no one can see them. I think where this problem really starts is by seeing failure as a weakness. The idea to be perfect comes from wanting to avoid failure, because if a person fails, there is a fear of exposing their weaknesses, which creates more stress in their daily life and generates mental and physical health problems. This ideal lifestyle is becoming more and more common, but it's extremely toxic because it becomes a race against yourself and your flaws. For example, when I was growing up, I had a speech impediment and I couldn't say my R's properly. Nowadays, sometimes I mess up here and there, but I tend to catch myself a lot often than I did before. And like, for example, whenever I was trying to say the word rabbit, I would always pronounce it as wabbit. And my dad still jokes about it to this day. But I would have trouble pronouncing my R's and my vowel sounds, and I was generally slow to speak in general. And because of this, I would usually hide away and not speak up much with my peers. My parents saw this, however, and they didn't want me to hide my voice because of this. So they said that I should do verbal journals every day and just talk about my day at school. So every day after school, I would just take my little iPad and I would record myself and I'd say like, hey everyone, I just came back from school. I just did this, this, and this. I ate this for snack and I played with my friends. And I would just do that every day. It became a habit. And although it didn't immediately fix my pronunciation problem, it did help me get a lot more comfortable with my voice and speak out more. Later on, I did go to speech therapy and it helped fix it even more. And here I am recording this podcast for you and sharing more about my experiences. I gotta admit, it did take a while for me to get to this stage and be comfortable like this. I was able to take my greatest weakness and turn it into my greatest strength, the power of my voice. I think the most important thing to really take away from this is that I started with small actions to help embrace my imperfection and turn it into a strength. I also understand that I'm very blessed to have such a supportive background, and some don't have that. So I want to provide you with that support. Later on, I will actually be giving some simple tips of how you can embrace your own flaws. But first, let's look at some famous leaders who did the same thing and turned their weaknesses and perceived failures into their greatest advantage. The first one is Amanda Gorman. She really blew up after being the youngest person to ever give a poem at a presidential inauguration. But did you know that she actually had the same problem that I had when I was younger? Like me, Amanda had a speech impediment and she couldn't say her R's properly. But instead of seeing it as just an obstacle, she viewed it as her strength. And because of that, she became really good at reading and writing. And I noticed in the interview that she did, she actually said that what she would do was that she would play a bunch of her favorite songs that had a bunch of words with the letter R inside, making it her own personalized form of speech therapy. So she found a way to mix fun right into that. I thought it was so cool the way that she did that. And instead of just hiding away from the issue and not wanting to do anything about it, she decided to embrace it and to have fun with it. Another one is activist Greta Thunberg. She was actually diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome, OCD, and selective mutism while on her quest to stop climate change. And because of this, she only speaks when she thinks it's necessary, but she definitely believes that it's one of her superpowers. And I love Greta's mindset because she helped inspire millions across the globe to stand up for climate change and do something about it. I feel like the problem with society is that we always think that the greatest leaders are supposed to have no imperfections, they're supposed to be completely flawless and perfect, when really it's the other way around. I tend to notice that the greatest leaders turn their obstacles into advantages, and because of their mindset, it allows them to turn their biggest obstacle into their greatest strength. But how do you develop this mindset? Let's find out. Here are some tips and tricks that you can use to embrace your differences and to create a more positive and constructive mindset for yourself. The first one is to believe in yourself. That's always the first step. I will always be here to support you, but if you don't take that first step to believe in yourself and the power that you hold, it greatly limits your chance for success. When you believe in yourself, you're accepting who you truly are, and you aren't defining yourself by just your flaws alone. When you believe in yourself, you feel like you can handle the world, and it's an amazing experience. This positive energy and a little confidence gives a major lift and is the first step to embracing your true self. And it's also the most powerful thing that you can do. The second step is to take responsibility in your life. Instead of battling your flaws, work with them. Instead of shoving them underneath the rug, understand and acknowledge that you have these flaws and see what you can do to work with them. For example, let's say you tend to stutter when you're talking and you want to work on that flaw to be more vocal about your opinions. You can take baby steps by reading out loud and focusing on key points where you mess up. Or you can do it Amanda Gorman style and add a little fun to it, taking your favorite song and singing to it while focusing on your pronunciation. And when you're ready to take it up a level, join your school's speech and debate team, or you can sign up to make the morning announcements at your school or at your workplace. Continue to always advance and take more steps so that you can positively grow your mindset and work on your imperfections. And the third one is to cultivate a growth mindset. Done is always better than perfect. Nelson Mandela once said, "I never lose. I either win or I learn." End quote. And I think it's very important to actually cultivate this mindset when working with yourself and working with your imperfections. Don't think of failures as weaknesses or yourself as a loser because you have these weaknesses. Instead, think about what you can do to grow and better yourself as a human being. And yes, we are all human and we all make mistakes, but that's the beauty of human nature. The way we learn from our mistakes determines if we rise above the occasion or not. And be conscious about where you're focusing your energy towards. Instead of beating yourself up about messing up or failing, take that energy to learn from your mistakes and better yourself. Remember, failure is not a weakness, and it is not the opposite of success, but rather a part of success. And the quote for the day is, "Failure is not a permanent experience. You must rise above it and choose to be better than you were a moment ago. Changing and growing is what makes you win." End quote. Now, this came from an unknown person, but I still added it to this episode to remind you guys that you must rise above your circumstances because circumstances do not define you. So to sum this episode up, I wanted to show that no one is perfect and we all have our weaknesses and flaws. But the greatest people harness their weaknesses to become their greatest superpowers rather than pushing it away and pretending to be the perfect person. And you can adopt this mentality to better yourself and become stronger in your character and mentality. Do that by 1. Believing in yourself. 2. Taking responsibility in your life, and instead of battling your imperfections, work with them. And 3. Cultivate a growth mindset and be conscious about where you're focusing your energy towards, because failure is not a weakness, but a part of success. Remember, life is the journey of learning to be more truly yourself, so embrace those flaws. I'll end our very first episode on this note. Flawsome, a person who embraces their flaws and knows that they're awesome regardless. Remember to stay flawsome, and I'll see you next week. Thank you so much for tuning in. You just listened to Mental Mondays with Savanna. Make sure you click the subscribe button to receive more positivity every Monday and join the fam. Thanks again for listening, and I'll see you next week.